Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Hey, I'm a bit under the weather. I don't know what's going around here, but my wife gave me a cold that I think she picked up from all those kids on the school bus. And I thought I was over it. And I don't know, today I woke up, had dinner or breakfast with the president of Houston Peace and Justice Center. And after I left there, I just felt, So, and then the coughing again started. So again, be careful out there. There's a whole lot of crap going around, and having the type of what's the health department that we have now, who the hell knows what's going on? So be careful out there. Anyway, we're going to have a great show for you today. Let me go ahead and start, folks. Hello. Welcome aboard, Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas. Joe from Los Angeles, California. Lee the Bearcat says, COVID shot is supposed to save you. I had the COVID shot. I had the flu shot. I had the pneumonia shot. I had the, what is it? The shingles shot. I try to get every single shot. And I hope you are not making that comment like that, Mr. Lee the Bearcat, in jest. I would tell everybody, go out there and get your shots. Even if the shots doesn't work 100%, it puts your body into that motion, that mode especially if you're getting older. And I am getting older, so I will go ahead and do it. My entire family did it. My wife has lupus, which means we want to make sure that we don't infect her. We care about other people. We don't let ideological stupidity get in our way, which is what generally happened. Let's see. But Eric Berto, you work almost 20 hours a day. Yeah. Actually, what I get is 4 hours of sleep a day. It's crazy. I was looking at my Fitbit to see if I've improved. I promised a couple of people that I went to breakfast with a few years ago that I was going to change my sleeping habits. And it's still working between 3 to 4 hours during the weeks. But I'm going to try to get a little bit better this year, March KJ. Thank you for that, beautiful. Judy, how you doing, Judy? Terry Schmitter. Judy is from Poughkeepsie, New York. Let's say Terra Doshir, Terralex one is in the house. Marge Bernadoodle, Sharon Quinn, Femke, Don Ira Krakow. How you doing, Ira Krakow? E2247 says, hi, Egberto. Best wishes to you, Linda, and Ashley for a great 2026. The long ago ahead of time. Thank you, my brother, E2247. You know I love you. You are always here, and you always keep me on my toes, and you square me up when I'm not doing the right thing. That's why I love my audience. If I get off on a tangent too far, you guys come in and say, Berto, don't forget you need to cover this now. Love you all, man. Carlin Olson, how you doing? Linda Palmer, how you doing? Lee says, hope you feel better. Take some melatonin, good sleep. I've never taken melatonin. I have never taken melatonin. Does it really make you feel like you're going to get a better sleep, Lee the Bearcat? I don't know. Maybe worth a try. Harry Denson says, good afternoon, all Politics Done Right listeners in the state of Texas and around the world. Let us all engage and continue to learn from each other and learn from our teacher. let me tell you what I want to do. This story got under my crow, and I'm going to tell you why. The same people who always talk family values, they always talk morality, they always want to be in your bedroom. But these are the people that are most defective. These are the people in general that causes the most harm to the people we love, to the people, all this stuff about trans and all of that these people have been going on for. Los gatos sin Madrid. Egberto, feliz año y próspero año nuevo. Gracias, hermano. Los gatos sin Madrid. Are you in Spain, Madrid? Anyway, look, there are these people, they're always preaching to you about morality. These people are generally least moral. So when this story broke yesterday, I just had to cut it because I wanted you guys to see what it's like. Look, let's get this clear. The Evangelical Church is one of Donald Trump's biggest supporters. I repeat, the Evangelical Church is one of Donald Trump's biggest supporters. Donald Trump is a person that speaks about grabbing women by their genitals. Donald Trump has been convicted of sexually abusing women. Donald Trump has boasted about abusing women sexually. Donald Trump has been heard talking about going into young girls' rooms while they're naked. All those things are Donald Trump. Yet there are evangelical Christians who look at him as their standard bearer. Now, I want you to make the connection here. If the evangelical church can look up to Donald Trump with all those flaws, not to speak that he's a thief, he's a thug, and all these other things. If the evangelical church can look up to him, I want you to listen to this story because it tells you that you should probably give and consider every pastor, youth pastor or otherwise, they likely will have the propensity for this. Why? After all, they have no problems with somebody who has done these things on steroids. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Abuse continue to push for justice in Washington. Elsewhere in the country, another group of alleged child abuse survivors may finally get their day in court. For more than 40 years, Pentecostal preacher Joe Campbell led ministries for thousands of children in 4 different states. During that time, multiple girls came forward to accuse the pastor of repeated sexual abuse, some claiming the abuse happened when they were as young as 9 and 14 years old. But despite those allegations and despite being banished from multiple churches, Campbell was able to continue preaching and running youth ministries. He even recently ran a summer camp for kids. That was until earlier this month when Campbell was arrested on charges by the state of Oklahoma, charged with first-degree rape and lewd or indecent acts to a child under 16. Campbell is currently behind bars in Missouri, awaiting extradition to Oklahoma. He has not yet entered a plea on the charges. Oklahoma authorities began looking into Campbell after an NBC News investigation published by myself and my then colleagues back in May. Our investigation focused on a group of Campbell accusers who had come together decades later, seeking accountability.
These stories haven't changed. They were told to parishioners, they were told to clergy, they were told to parents, they were told to friends. Lots of people knew this story for 40 years. This story has not changed. My story has not changed. Your story has not changed. And still, yet he runs a camp for children.
People are saying, it happened so long ago, just leave it. Leave it alone. Why? Why leave it alone? If there's a chance, if there's just a chance that he can be held accountable, I want to tell my story.
Many of the women we spoke to for that story were told that the statute of limitations had elapsed on their allegations against Joe Campbell. But Oklahoma prosecutors now argue that a frontier-era law is on their side, and that the statute of limitations was actually paused when Campbell left the state in the 1980s. They charged Campbell based on allegations brought by a woman named Carrie Jackson, who says Campbell molested her for years during the early 1980s in Tulsa. She says she told church officials about the abuse at the time, but those leaders claimed her allegations were not credible and allowed Campbell to continue to preach. Soon Campbell left Oklahoma and moved to a church in Missouri. One of the women we spoke to during our investigation was Phaedra Creed, who was adopted by Joe Campbell and his wife in Missouri at age 14, and says Campbell would regularly abuse her at night after night, while his wife and children slept upstairs. She told a trusted adult who went to church leaders and then got the police involved. Authorities in Missouri charged Joe Campbell with abusing Phaedra Creed in the late 80s, but she says pressure from her church and her community shamed her out of testifying against him in court, and the charges against him were eventually dropped at that time. Today, she is one of the many women who has come forward seeking justice.
And justice she will get. But again, I want to point this out. If you are in an evangelical church whose pastor is carousing with Trump, whose pastor has convinced you that Trump is God sent, and we all know that Trump has done much worse than even this pastor has, then it is understandable that this is rampant in the evangelical church. And you know, it's not me saying that. There was another scandal around Houston. The Houston Chronicle did like a 5 or 6 part series about it that I covered. This is evil. And this is who the evangelical church is. Lee Grant, did I ever mention whether it was black evangelical, white evangelicals, or whatever? I said the evangelical church. Why are you bringing race into this? Anybody who follows that modus operandi and follows Trump is suspect, and is suspect for being pedophiles, is suspect for doing harm to women. Any one of these evangelical churches, I will say and shout to the top of my lungs. And pastors, why don't you come on to my show and tell me that you are absolutely sure your church, who supports men like Donald Trump, doesn't support people in your pew who are doing exactly what Donald Trump is doing. Why should they have to worry? After all, you are supporting Donald Trump. You are supporting somebody who harms women. You are supporting somebody who harms children. I wish the mainstream media would show the hypocrisy, not only the hypocrisy, the evil of this reality. I wish they would show the evil of this reality. All right, I got some more stuff. You know, the ACA premiums will be going up tomorrow. A lot of people will be suffering tomorrow. Here is my ask. Well, let me play the video, and then I have an ask for all of you with respect to how we must frame this discussion. Here we go, and then we'll take it on the other side. In 15 days from today, if you're watching this later, maybe another time, but in 15 days from today, the subsidies to the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, expires. And it's going to cause a lot of pain on a whole lot of people. I want you to listen to this piece here. This lady's health care has gone up by 4 times, 400%. She has 1 year to go to Medicare traditional, but at least she's going there. She has to bite the bullet for 1 year. 1 year, $24,000 for her health care. $24,000 as a gift to the insurance company. If she is lucky enough to stay healthy, that will be just $24,000 given away to the insurance company. Our healthcare system is a fraud. And the more and more people find this out, they will get off this bandwagon of wanting to have private health insurance. And it is a fraud. Let's go ahead and listen to this story, then we'll finish on the other side.
My next guest is one of the millions of Americans whose monthly premiums will balloon if the ACA subsidies do expire at the end of the month. Right now, Ellen Allen pays $479 a month for her health care coverage, and she just learned it's going to cost her almost $2,000 starting in January if Congress does not act. Joining us, Executive Director of West Virginians for Affordable Healthcare, Ellen Allen. So you're just outside of Charleston, West Virginia.
Yes.
Tell me about the healthcare plan you are currently on.
Hi, Katie. Yes, thanks for having me. I am on a bronze plan, and I currently pay, as you said, just under $500 a month. It also includes vision and dental care. It's a bronze plan. You know, it has higher amount of coinsurance, but I've been happy with it. The same plan without vision and dental, because it went up so much, will cost me almost $2,000 next year. And that's about 320% increase. And then you calculate an additional maximum out of pocket and coinsurance, you're pushing over 400% increase. So, and I'm not the only West Virginians that are looking at exorbitant increases in the coming year.
What are you going to do?
Well, I've been planning for this. We do this work all the time. So that's what we've been working and educating West Virginians about the entire year. So I've set up my own health savings account just to squirrel away some money so I can do that. I'm 64 years old. I don't want to go without health insurance, obviously. So I'm just going to have to foot that bill. You know, I'm fortunate in that our organization helps pay a stipend to our small staff, but still it can't absorb all of those costs. So it falls on the individual, as it will over 67,000 other West Virginians in the state.
Congress yesterday voted on two bills. One of them was an extension of the ACA subsidies for 3 more years. That was a Democrat-backed bill. The Republicans voted on a bill to deposit money directly into health savings accounts, I guess like you've opened up for yourself. For you, because you're over 50 years old, it would be $1,500 directly into that account. Wouldn't be able to use it to pay for your premiums, but any other healthcare expense. Did you have a preference for one of those plans?
Yes, I would like to see the 3-year extension. And in that time, hopefully our lawmakers could get in a room and do some real work on addressing the affordability of healthcare. You know, look at site neutral payments, look at what's driving the increase in healthcare costs, which is really hospital costs. I look at price transparency. So that's what we prefer. And, you know, I think the HSAs, I think that's illustrative of just how out of touch our lawmakers are. Not only could that $1,500 one-time payment, that's not even per month. It's a one-time deposit into an HSA. And there are some tax benefits, but, you know, when people's health insurance premium is $2,000 a month and upwards, and again, the maximum out of pocket pushing $10,000. You know, it's almost laughable. Again, that shows how out of touch they are. You have to have high amount of disposable income for the HSAs to really benefit your household.
The Republicans say the ACA is terrible. They have real problems with it. They've not liked it since the beginning. They say it's really vulnerable to fraud and that it doesn't work. What's your experience with the ACA been?
Well, you know, they've had 15 years to fix it, and they've come up with nothing better. I think, frankly, it's an extraordinary achievement that has reduced the uninsured rate around the country. Could it be better? Of course. Addressing the costs of hospital costs, again, site neutral payments being a big issue. That's something lawmakers should get together on and address. In West Virginia, prior to the ACA and Medicaid expansion that came about at the same time, West Virginia had close to a 20% uninsured rate. Since the ACA came into law, that rate is below 6%. Now, that's an extraordinary achievement. And many people in the industry think when you get around 5%, you're really speaking of functionally practical full insured rate, because there's always going to be some people that, for whatever reason, don't want to be insured. But the insurance is very good, and it truly does give affordability and access to every single American.
What are the folks you work with going to do?
Well, I know one person who is not going to have healthcare coverage. She just can't afford it. When we've been going around the state in our Cuts and Consequences tour, and people ask us, what do they do if they know they can't enroll because of the high premium costs? They're going to FQHCs, free and charitable clinics, and West Virginia has a really good network of free and charitable clinics and FQHCs. But if you have a catastrophic event, a chronic illness like cancer, you're in a car accident, you're hospitalized, that's where you have to depend on your healthcare coverage.
Now, you heard what she said. She put some money away. She had the disposable income to put some money away to cover what's going to happen to her, the $24,000 that she's going to have to give the health insurance company for herself. But here's the deal. You notice she also said she has friends that work in the office that they will simply be going without insurance. They'll have to find free clinics. They'll have to go down to the level of, my God, I never thought I would be here. But let me tell you what's so dramatic about what's happening, people. And this is the shameful thing about what's happening. Earlier today on my program, somebody came on and said, or a video that one of our PDR Posse members showed us, actually showed that the military folks voted for Donald Trump 60-40 against Kamala Harris. In other words, 60% for Trump, 40% for Kamala Harris. Who was going to maintain their benefits? They also that's the military. Now, that meaning the veterans. We also have the farmers who voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. Cost them $44 billion. Of course, Donald Trump is going to give them back $12 billion of the $44 billion that he screwed them over with tariffs and money to Argentina, etc. But look at what he's going to harm in healthcare. Look at the people that are going to be most harmed. Here on the screen, I've just placed the states that will be affected the most. Tell me what you find in common. Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, Arizona. What's special about these states? Iowa. All these states, predominantly for the last few sessions, have been voting fairly red. And those are the states most affected. States not all that affected, blue states, Oregon, California, New York, Maine. Okay? Let's be clear, folks. Donald Trump, with his policies, while they think they are giving it to the libs, while they think they are, screwing the libs, what Donald Trump has done was, for the most part, hurt more intensely the people that voted for him. Yeah, and that is something that we have to be able to do in 2026. We got a big year in 2026, and we have to look. You're not going to convince the crazies in our chat here that are sycophants. They're gone. Don't even bother. But there are a lot of people who don't know the truth, and that's what we have to do. We have to get into their ears and let them realize, yeah, the ACA, all these subsidies hurt red states more. For the goofy stuff that people talk about, blue states, the blue states are supporting the red states. Remember that. Anytime they tell you anything about your blue states, remember to tell them that red states are beggar states. They are sucking the blood out of the federal government, who is paid for by blue states. Remember that. You have got to start your discussion with those kind of statements. We are happy to fulfill what your government that you elected has been unable to do. Because we are a moral people in blue states, we are going to make sure that you don't starve. We're going to make sure that you get your support, because you guys, with your policies, just cannot handle self supporting. And it's funny, they always talk about uh, rugged individualism and lifting yourself up by the bootstrap, when all of these blue states are supporting the red states. And CSAC, not a question, it's a statement of fact. The blue states put a lot more into the treasury and than the red states, and the red states take out a lot more out of the treasury than they put in. They are beggar states. I repeat, they are the beggar states. All right, continuing. They are the welfare states, is what we should call them. Red state, welfare states. But we don't mind. We don't have anything against welfare. We don't mind supporting you. Anyway, Brother Don said something important. He says, the moral majority, the moral, before that, Mike Cisak says, the blue states have much higher welfare and are bigger. Okay, wait a minute. Let's say the blue states have more welfare, as you say, right? Even they take care of their own and still have some left over to take care of you red states. Come on, Mike. I thought you had a little bit upstairs. Even if they have more people on welfare, because they are in fact bigger states, they take care of their own and they take care of yours. Come on now. You guys are bigger states that can't take care of yourselves. All right, continuing. Don said something important. He says, the moral majority was a political organization founded in 1979 by Jerry Falwell to promote conservative Christian values in American politics. Uh, Now, it played a significant role in mobilizing religious voters, particularly during the 1980s, but disbanded in 1989. But you know what's so funny? His son, to show you the corrupt moral depravity of this group, the public record confirms that Jerry Falwell Jr., the conservative evangelical leader and former president of Liberty University, was embroiled in a highly publicized sex scandal. All right. And you know what happened? They brought a boy in, they set him up with money and all of that, and had this guy, he wanted to watch this guy have sex with his wife and participated. Jerry Falwell's wife would have sex with this other guy with Jerry Falwell Jr. watching. I'm telling, look, these are the people that they want to call moral. So why do you think they have a problem supporting Trump? They don't, because that's who they are. That is who they are. So Donald Trump fits in perfectly. So this false stuff about morality and this false stuff about the sanctity of life, it's all bull. These are evil people. That's why they're shutting down places in Minnesota and harming kids on a lie. Let's remember this, folks. We are talking about their leadership being the instantiation of evil. I repeat, evangelical leaders, Donald Trump and his posse. That is the instantiation of evil. And you must have the pride in yourself to be able to look them in the eye and tell them, you are evil, but you can change. You are evil, but you can stop putting your evil onto your pew. Okay? Let's be clear. Look them in the eye and civilly, gently, nicely say, unfortunately, sir or ma'am, the things that you do are the instantiation of evil. And you can give the examples of all what these evangelical leaders have done and pointed out that it is no wonder that they support somebody like Donald Trump. And we have to make this a story over and over and over again. That's how they play. We need to learn how to play it with a smile, how to play it civilly, and how to play it with respect. You don't have to say, oh, you evil. You just have to say the truth. Evangelical leaders have a propensity for evil based on their support for Donald Trump and what Donald Trump has done, and their support for all their other evangelical characters who have been sealed from their moral depravity, from the former leader of the moral majority's son, and much more. And every time they try to talk about trans or anything, let them know that they're the evil ones. Your kid doesn't have a problem with some trans raping them. They have to worry about their pastor. The evangelicals that are fighting against trans and all of this, they're fighting up the wrong tree. It's not the trans raping their kids. It's their pastors raping their kids. Let's get that straight. Let's get that straight. It's the pastors raping their kids. So whenever they bring that up about whenever they bring up trans, say, what are you doing about your evangelical pastors? I mean, that's a bigger danger to our kids. Mathematically speaking, it's a bigger danger for our kids. What are you doing about it? So they bring up trans. You don't even mention the word trans. Just say your pastors are a bigger risk to your children than that person you just mentioned. And you have to learn how to deal the argument, because what you want when the media who always do these cuts are doing things, right? You want when they trap your discussion, you don't want them to hear you somehow talking trans, because they're going to say, oh, look at the lefties are always talking about trans. You let them talk about trans, and then you say, why are you talking about that subject? It seems to me that the person that's really harming our kids sexually, abusing our kids, are evangelical pastors. Come on now. That is where we need to put our warnings. There is and I played her several times. There is a lawyer, a trans lawyer, that decided to make a database of all sexual assaults in this country. And you cannot find any by trans, but you can find a whole lot by evangelical Christians. A lot by evangelical Christians. So don't ever allow them to use that morality on you. We are the moral ones. I repeat, if you're listening to me and you are anti-Trump, there's a higher likelihood that you are moral. If you are pro-Trump, even as we've told you what Trump has done, you have seen what Trump has done. I cannot call you anything other than evil. I can look, and I'm talking about the folks in the chat also. If after you've been at this in my chat long enough to know the evil that Trump has done, and if you support that, I must say civilly, I must say with respect, that you as well are evil, because you are supporting that which harms humanity. Okay? That which harms humanity. All right. Next subject. I did the evangelical. I want to go to our farmers. Our farmers are having a hard time because this evil man has really destroyed their. But it's not that he destroyed the farms. This was intentional. This is to take away the farms from the small farmers and give it to the corporations. That's what it's all about. As these farms go bankrupt, corporations, including your vice president, will be buying up all this land. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
2025 has been a rough year for farmers, between the fallout from President Trump's trade war, tariffs, and inflation. And to cap it all off, Trump announced a $12 billion bailout for farmers earlier this month. But for many, the move marked an admission that a year's worth of Trump's policies have upended their entire industry and threatened their livelihoods. Joining us to discuss the state of farming heading into 2026, founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association, John Boyd Jr. He's also a soybean farmer. John, it's good to see you. So walk me through how the impact of Trump's policies are being felt and seen at the tail end of 2025. How would you grade this past year for farmers?
Thank you very much for that question. I would have to give the president an F minus.
F minus.
F minus. He came right into this country, right into his presidency, and imposed tariffs on China, Mexico, Canada. China was buying all of America's soybeans. Mexico was buying corn, and we were getting a lot of fertilizer from Canada. President imposed tariffs there. His tariffs didn't work the first time he was president in this country. They didn't work the first time. He came right back in and done the same thing. When the president came into his first term, I was selling soybeans for $16.80 a bushel. The price dropped all the way down to less than $8 a bushel. He got elected again, wow. And then he imposed tariffs again. And I had to stop selling stop harvesting my soybeans for the first time in my 42-year career. I've been producing soybeans in America for 42 years. This is the first season I had to stop harvesting soybeans because the grain elevators were full because China was not buying any soybeans. My mortgage is due tomorrow, January 1st. My mortgage is due. I don't have enough money to pay that mortgage as I sit here and speak to you. And now this president announces $12 billion, but the farmers can't get the money until February. And I just explained to you that farmers' notes are due and between November and January. Mine is due in January. All of these things has happened on this president's watch. He keeps saying Joe Biden is the cause of this. This is not Biden's mess. This is President Trump's mess. He came right in here and done it. He needs to own up to it. The bailout that he's proposing, $12 billion, is a drop in the bucket for agriculture. People, it really is. He gave $40 billion to Argentina. Well, that money should have been coming to America's farmers if he wants to save farmers. The average size of a farm for a black-owned farm is roughly 50 acres. He's proposing $30 an acre, and his proposed bailout, that's about $1,500, people. And we have all kinds of bad information that black farmers are opting out of this, all this stuff. That's not so. They still have to go into the office and go through the necessary procedures of reporting your crops. I want to announce that on your show. Farmers should still go into the FSA office and apply. Even though you're not going to get much apply anyway, we still have to have these resources to get to this bottom line. This president had a meeting at the White House, and I was trying to go to that meeting. He said, his administration said I couldn't come because something about DEI. There is
that you couldn't come, a fourth generation farmer, you couldn't come because of DEI?
Because DEI, they said it was moving away from DEI and that they were going to focus primarily on large scale white farmers that produce the most food is what this administration says. So here it is. He's hurt my farming operation that I've just explained to you. And I have about 2,000 acres here in southern part of Virginia. But we're not good enough to come and sit at the table and tell this president that he's doing a sorry job for America's farmers. And then he wants to do away with immigration in this country. Somalians, Ethiopians, anybody that look like John Boyd, he wants to ship them people out on the deadline, but he wants to bring white farmers into this country from South Africa and give them a fast path to citizenship, land out of inventory in a homestead, things that they've never done in this country for a black person that looks like me. That's why I give this president a F minus. One, he says because I'm black, that's pretty much what they're saying, people, that I can't come to the meeting. But I want to tell you, there's no DEI on my farm. My cows eat the same amount of hay as a white man's cows. I have to be able to produce a crop in this country. All of these things. The DEI is required when I leave this because of the companies and how they're treating black farmers in this country. We basically lost all of our land. This president has taken race relations in this country probably back to the 60s and all those policies that they're doing. So he wants to bring in white farmers, give them a fast path to citizenship, and anybody in this country that looks like me, he wants to take them out. But I want to say this. He made a mistake by taking immigrants out of this country. They're doing a lot of work that many Americans do not want to do in this country. And he hurt agriculture, and he sold his base out, which is white farmers in this country, when he did that $40 billion bailout. And I've seen them all on your network telling you, and I've been out here 42 years. I've never seen
they're being squeezed in all the ways that you've described, and that's not even to mention the fact that the expiring healthcare subsidies are going to hurt many farmers as well. John Boyd, you've done such an incredible job spelling out the connections between all of these pressure points. And I got to say, we're going to have to bring you back on to talk about that piece about the White House and the DEI allegations.
This guy has 2,000 acres that he farms soybean and other products. Much of it gone to waste because the grain elevators are filled up. The grain elevators are filled up because China is not buying the soybeans. We have an oversupply of soybeans. So Donald Trump has screwed up farming. But I want all of you to watch something. Go ahead to the grocery store. Look for soybean oil. There are a lot of products that are dependent on soybeans, not only oil, but other flours, etc. I want you to look at those prices. If you don't think our economic system is a fraud, remember what John Boyd just said. The elevators are filled to the rim with soybeans. He has soybeans in the field que no pudo cosechar, that he could not harvest. But if you go to the store, the price of soybean oil hasn't dropped. The price of things dependent on soybean, which should really be cheap. Remember what he said. Before Trump came into office, he was getting $18 a bushel for soybean. Last time he was able to sell soybeans, $8 a bushel. Come on, folks. These are hard numbers. Hi, Maywood. Happy New Year to you too as well, my brother. These are hard numbers. So while we have our sycophants that try to find any way they can to somehow defend the evil that Donald Trump represents, even as that evil is going to hurt not only themselves, but their families, right? It's amazing. Okay, let me just show you the sycophancy. Mike says, Trump negotiated a huge increase in sales of soybeans to the EU. The increase overcame the initial refusal by China, who is now going to buy over 12 billion tons of soybeans over the next several years. That is a pittance. I mean, why stop reading the right-wing rag and start reading the farmer's rag? I mean, my brother, it makes you sound so unintelligent. All right. Don says all this because of the conservatives' belief that cutting taxes and all these things you're talking about are totally economic things, and a byproduct of them is blacks get hurt worse than whites, as per the Southern strategy. The funny thing about it is blacks do not get hurt more than whites. Let me tell you something, folks. People of color, black, Latino, Chinese, they have, and I'm not talking about the sellouts now. I'm talking about in the aggregate. They have that staying power because they've had to go through so much tribulation that the things that hurt them decimate our white brothers and sisters. You know, I never forgot my wife when my wife was in these bunco groups in the neighborhood, and most of the times she may be one of the only black persons, or actually one of the only persons of color in the room. And my wife didn't say much when these women said certain things, but she would come home and she said the things that hurts them, the things that take them over the edge, Egberto, what would they do if they went through what I had to go through, being a person of color? What would they do? And that is just meant to show what is the word that I want to use? Relativity, right? Bad things happen. Look, when I go into certain spaces, I assume a lot so that when certain types of treatments come, it's expected. So it doesn't hurt. You build up that wall, but my white brothers and sisters have never had to build that wall. Look at the few racists in my chat. They just spew things about. Look at what one of them said. One of them said, "Oh, black evangelicals are get run away from progressive." That's not true. But they think that they have to bring in a black story. No, let's not do that. We should be thinking of ourselves as one and learn from each other and learn from those of us who have gone through tribulations. One of the reasons, and I'll just put it out there, one of the reasons I wrote the book Tribulations of an Afro Latino Caribbean Man was to point out the kinds of stuff that I've gone through. And most people would just look at it and say, wow, I didn't notice it. And that's the biggest part, the invisibility of people noticing as you are being harmed. The invisibility of people noticing as you are being harmed. Try to get any of your friends that are people of color. I know I'm using people of color because it's not just a black thing. It's a Latino thing. It's a Chinese thing. It's an Asian thing. And if the thing about it is, I have close relationships with people of all races. Some of my closest friends, my white brothers and sisters, and they are comfortable enough with me that they can ask me anything. I can ask them anything. And sometimes they get back and they're like, "Wow, I noticed that." And I never forgot when we took the bike. We were riding in the Timbuktu. We used to do 80 miles on the weekend, right? And we're riding from Kingwood, and we gone into the boondocks. And I was riding with one of my white brothers here in town, and we got into the store, and I got into the store, and he then came right in behind me, and the guy just ignored me and went to the guy. And then he said, "Oh, no, he was ahead of me," and he did that, and that was one thing. Then it happened again, and my friend, it was a little bit rougher then, you're right. The way it happened, the guy was it was clear what he did, and my friend just walked out of the store. And when I'm like, "What's wrong with him?" And I walked out. We were riding the bike, and as I walked out on the bike, he was red, red, red as a cherry. And I'm like, "What's up, John?" And he's like, you know, I never really noticed it before. Is that something that happens all of the times? And I'm like, every day, every hour, all of the times. You go to a store, you're being followed. So, thieves do a good thing now. Thieves go ahead and say, "Hey, let me go steal with my white brother." And what they do is the black brother and the white brother goes into the store, and he knows that they're going to be following the black brother. And as they're following the black brother, the white guy is ripping everything off. And then after he get his stuff and he leaves the store, the black brother buys nothing and just get out of there. So racism is expensive. Prejudice is expensive, and not to speak about what it does to your soul. But I never forgot with that guy, John. John was almost crying because it was real to him then. I can say all kind of stuff, but he saw it just out of the blue. It was real. And that was one of the simpler stuff. Told you guys about this, about the affirmative action stuff on my job and all of that. But you see, unless you are willing to accept and understand it, you never will. All right. Let's see. Elwin Hudson says, we always think of the treatment that minorities get. What about people with mental problems? Some of them catch hell daily for their first day in school to the old age. No doubt about that. Elwin, no doubt about that. That's why if you take a look at the agenda that progressives follow the agenda, and they include They include mental health. They include all of that in their progressive values. As for after all, didn't we get the act, the Disabilities Act? I mean, that is what progressives have always supported. People that the system has deprived of. Wahid Mohammed said, yes, whites feel entitled, whereas people of color know the system is stacked against them from the start and are prepared from jump to accommodate discriminate. Yeah, always prepared. Always prepared. And that is what a lot of people don't realize. You're always prepared for what's coming next. Denson said, well, Egberto, black soybean farmer John Boyd is correct. Convict Trump wants Afrikaners. Yep, I remember that distinctly. Okay, let's see what else have we got here. Or got one more video to show you. Which one is it? Anand Hidadas. I want to show this one. And let me tell you, I want this one. As Democrats, we have a lot of work to do. All of us have to get together. We have to forget about allowing what they're going to do. They're going to try to split us with identities and all of that. We are having or must work together in 2026, and we will win big. And I'm not only talking about the Congress and the Senate, I'm talking about the state legislatures throughout the country. And we're going to turn some of these red states blue, starting from Texas. So I want you to listen to Anand Hidadas talk about how Mamdani did it, and then we'll take it on the other side. Anand Hidadas nails it on why Zohran Mamdani was successful. It has to do with consistency. It has to do with meeting people where they are. It has to do with originality. And you know what? The most important part about it, being genuine, not running away from your values, not running away from what it is to be a true progressive, something that Democrats continue to do and still continue to do. It's the reason why it took Hakeem Jeffries so long to endorse him, and he likely only endorsed him because he's likely to get a primary challenge from somebody who's already endorsed Mamdani, and Mamdani won his district. And Chuck Schumer never even bothered to endorse him. Again, normally they say if whoever makes it out of the primary, you vote for that person because, again, they paid the dues and made it out of the primaries, but somehow it didn't apply to Mamdani. But you know what? Those who refuse to see the light will pay. Check this out, then we'll take it on the other side.
Anand, you've been covering Zohran Mamdani from day one when he first came on the scene. And last night, his win, obviously resounding, but the amount of young people who stepped up and voted for him, what does his win tell you?
So an incredible statistic. So you've seen on the screen, he won about 1 million votes.
Yeah.
Here's a number that's more striking than that. He had 100,000 volunteers. So about 1 out of 10 people who voted for him also volunteered for him. I'm not sure how many precedents that has in American
that gives me
political
chills.
history.
Yeah.
I mean, I walk around my neighborhood and other neighborhoods in Brooklyn all the time. Like, you couldn't not see people canvassing. I don't think I ever saw in the last many months a canvasser for any other campaign.
So that's amazing. That does matter. Everybody always talks about big money in politics. I always said, I want a guy that gives me $25. Yeah. I want a woman who gives me $25 because they're a lot more invested in this campaign than somebody that gives me $1,000. It's the same thing with volunteers. If you get them to the phone banks, if you get them knocking on doors, you're on your way. How did he do it? What was step one?
I mean, I think several things. And people put a label of democratic socialist or a label of this and that. What he really did was actually center quality of life and affording things, which is as universal, as not niche a thing as you can focus on. And almost to the exclusion of talking about anything else. Like, you ask him about the sports game and he's like, let's talk about how much things cost.
Right. So
you sit down and wonder, what is it going to take for Democrats to understand that most Democrats, most working class Republicans, and most independents are exactly where Mamdani is. Remove the labels. provide the policies, and you find that that is what America wants. Senator from Massachusetts has been talking about that. Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts has been talking about this for a long time. I remember going to a Netroot conference and taping her speech when she came out and said this wholeheartedly. America is where progressives are. It's just a matter of the plutocracy putting stumble blocks in between, whether they be racial or ethnic. They do all these things to split people up so that they don't look at their core values. But the core values of the American people are where progressives are. Now, so here's what we have to do. This is the last day of the year. We are in full campaign mode effective tomorrow. Effective tomorrow. We are in full campaign mode to recover our democracy. That is what we do. We are in full campaign mode to recover democracy. And Mamdani, as young as he is, showed the way. Don't allow them to distract you. They're trying to distract you with Somalians in Minnesota. Reverse it on them. You're evil for putting those kids out of school and starving the kids. Make it be an affordability and a humane issue. Don't fight the battle on their evil platform. Fight it on your humane platform. They talk about trans. Say the people that we need to protect our kids against are evangelical pastors, who many have already been convicted of sexually abusing children. Make that the subject. Don't make the trans the subject. When they talk about inflation, remember to tell them Donald Trump has destroyed farming and destroyed our pricing schemes with his tariffs. You pay the tariffs, not the foreign companies, and it's reflected in the price of your goods. Whatever they talk about, don't even mention it. Just give the reality of what it is they're doing. Because when I tell you this bunch in Congress, this bunch in the White House, this bunch that has taken over the administrative state are many things. But most importantly, they're dumb, they're evil, and they're dangerous. Dumb, evil, and dangerous. And what we have to do, effective tomorrow, is to take our country back civilly, legally, and by fighting the battle in a humane, in a smart, in an intelligent, in a civil manner. Let's remember that. So, before I wish you all a happy new year, I want to ask you all to please, I will urge you, if you have the wherewithal to do so, please become a paid subscriber of our network. And you can become a paid subscriber of our newsletter by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And you will allow me to continue doing this. And by the way, we don't only do this on these podcasts, on these lives, on these radio shows. We're also doing this on KPFT and many other radio stations that are affiliates are now carrying Politics Done Right. We're doing it in many areas. We're writing articles. We're on many websites. I'm the editor at several websites where we make sure and put the truth out. As March K was talking about, I'm doing this between 16 and 20 hours a day. We need your support. I will ask you so kindly, please become paid subscribers of our newsletter. To do that, just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and I have it in the chat right now. Now it's the time. I want you guys to have a very, very safe New Year. So please be safe tonight. Whether you're staying home, I'm staying home because I've already have my station set up downstairs where I'll be typing while we watch some TV together. But I'll be still blogging downstairs. Please stay safe. Please be on the lookout. Also, have a wonderful, wonderful Happy New Year. And let me tell you, I promise you this. If we do what we are supposed to do, if we go out there with geometric progression and speak the word, promote the word, and share and talk to our people with civility, we are going to win not just in a landslide. We're going to win just about every place that the Republicans have harmed, except for the sycophants, of course. But we will win big. There will be a lot of shenanigans out there, folks. A lot of people will attempt to mess with the vote. But our vote will be so overwhelming that will not work. But it's all up to you all. Happy New Year. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.